Good morning and welcome back. This is Tina. I am your hostess on your Thursday call this week. And let's get started with our normal. So if you have been with me before, you know I simply ask for you to type in your GoToWebinar control panel. Let me know what company you're with and where you're located in the US. So if you can just type that down in the bottom. I was getting a little concerned today because it was to tell and I only had a couple of people in here. So normally I'm accustomed to 30 to 50 people in this class. So go ahead and type that down there for me. So just to let you know, we occasionally I ask for your hand to be raised. If I do ask for your hand to be raised, leave your hand up in the air. Don't put it down. Let me put it down for you. That way I'm able to see everyone's hands before they're placed down. So I've got a couple of people. Thank you, Patrick and Elliot, for responding so quickly. We have Fairway in the house, as well as State Bank. Welcome, Elliot. I don't think I've seen your name before. We have Brian also with Fairway. We have several of our Fairway people in here. So let's get started. First, let me just take a poll, and I want to get kind of a gauge where everyone's at in the class. But if you do have a question or you came here for a particular reason, drop it into the little GoToWebinar control panel. Let me know what it is you need assistance with. Now, I can also log into your account. So if there's a certain one that you've been working on, you can't figure out why numbers aren't matching, something's going on, give me your link. Let me know what that problem is. So let me see. First one, of course, is, are you new to Mortgage Coach? New meaning you've created less than 10 presentations. So have you created less than 10 presentations? That's our first question. And thanks for being so quick. We are 56 and 44. So we do have several newbies on here, but we also have a lot of people who have been around for a little while. So we might leverage you guys. And let's go in. We're going to pull one more. So with it being tax season, are you currently using financial advisors and CPAs as referral partners? So that's my second question because it is tax season. These are great people to use and leverage during tax season. There's a lot of things that they're able to see when they're pulling taxes that the average American cannot see. So I'm just going to go through a little bit about that information. I also want to cover social media for anyone who is new, go over some places where you can get connected to get some questions answered. So, and welcome, Sergio. So if you're not leveraging those financial advisors and CPAs, one of the best things that you can show them in order to get them to even talk to you is, and I'm going to log into my account, is that area for when you're refinancing, if you're using that reinvestment strategy. There is nothing on the market for these people to be able to show this to their own clients. So let me pull up a refinance. So I'm going to pull up a random refinance. This one has that investment showing. Double clicking to go into it. And we'll look at the product. So on this case, we're showing the current loan, the 30-year fixed, and the 30-year fixed with that investment. So I'm going to click into the analysis window. Here is where you're going to make sure that you go in and set it up. Adjust reinvestment strategy, pops up the window, and here's all the information you have. Now in this case, it looks like they are actually not saving money. So I might need to go back and pull some new numbers. Let me make it so they're saving money really quickly. We're just going to make this a little, actually, we'll just take this to 325. And I'm manipulating mine, of course, so it works for our analogy, just so you guys can see how it'll work. And that actually, what's going on? Okay, one moment. Something's going on in my assumptions. Here we go. No property tax. Let's add some property tax on there. And then let me pull over this info. So we're going to copy it from that first loan. And this is how you would do a normal refinance. Click on yes. We do have our new tax button here. Is this going to be used for renovation? Because if it can be used for renovation, make sure you're checking this. This allows it to be tax deductible. So make sure you are adding that in there. We're going to put our 4.25. I'm going to leave it on a 30-year fix. And for that second product, I'm just going to copy that first product. So now we're all good. You can look over here and see the difference. Now when I go into my analysis window, adjust reinvestment strategy, I'm saving them $360 a month. So this is the money I have that I can show. And one of the great ones to show to an investor or someone who's working in that tax is we're actually going to show a 30-year fix, principal reduction. I'm going to add one more. The other one I'm going to add is investment. So we're going to go to this one. I do want to rename it so we know which one it is. And then we're going to go add investment. So let's add that third product in there. And simply copying it from one of the others, 30-year with investment. Now we have 3 products complete. Now when I go into my analysis window and I do my adjust reinvestment strategy, I'm going to use the savings off of it. So here's if they just refinance. Here's if they go in and they reduce their payment, $359.87. And then what you want to do is you want to, after you show this, ask them, what is your normal rate of return last year? What did you get? When you get that response from them, document it. You want to make sure that you know what it is. So when you're building out a presentation for one of your clients, you can say, okay, so his was 5.987 return last year. And instead of using it for a principal reduction, we're now going to show it based here, $359.87 going into another account. Now, when you do this, you want to go in. I'm going to click on OK, and I'm going to show total net worth because this is where you're going to be able to show your client as well as the investor or the financial person that you're working with how you can leverage using them to show that you're going to actually be able to build them approximately $15,000 more in that long-term time frame, and we have it set on 15 years, in 15 years. So again, they do not have anything in their market available that shows them that comparison because most of the time they don't have enough information on that current property where they can place it in and show that principal reduction. So this is a great strategy, especially for someone if they're trying to get ready for retirement, if they got a slow start on that retirement account, to show, hey, let's just create a retirement account for you. Let's create that extra leverage that you're missing because you're going to get a much higher rate of return than if you just simply play that principal down. So any questions on this? I will go a little deeper into it, but I just wanted to ask on the basis of that strategy. Okay, let's go in a little deeper onto this, some things that you can do when you're in this screen. If you want to go in more detail, let's say I want to split it, I can split the money, but if I want to go in and I want to add bonuses each year, double clicking into here, I can go into the actual reduction payment schedule. And all I need to do is click on add. So maybe every 12 months they want to make an extra payment. So what's that payment amount? We can move this around. So payment amount is $2,091.46. So then I can go in And I'm going to add a second one because I need to turn it off. But because I have this one here paying that $359, I'm going to bring it back down to $359.87. Now I'm going to add that next one. So you have to remember to turn the top one off before you add the next one. And again, adding underneath the very next month, the $359.87. So this is great for those people who always like get bonuses each year, or and they want to see how's it going to impact them if they place it in here versus them. And you can do the same strategy. We're going to click on OK. If I go down here and I double click again to get into the window. We have a couple of questions. Rate of return. You ask your actual, and the question is, where do you get the rate of return? The rate of return, you have to ask whoever you're working with. So initially, if you're approaching someone and you don't know what their rate of return is, look up what is the average rate of return right now. I honestly don't know what it is. I haven't looked it up, but look up what is the average rate of return. And that's what I would use initially when I'm talking to anyone in the tax industry. So anyone who's a financial advisor, I would use that. But then during the conversation, they know what their last year rate of return is. Ask them, what was your rate of return last year? Okay, so can you show us one where you use cash payout to pay off debt? Even new payment is higher due to increase in loan amount, but helps them. Absolutely. So this is a great one that you can use. Right now, with the interest rates sometimes being a little higher with some of them, however, they have high interest rate debt. So we're going to go in, we're going to create a new client, and let's go ahead and name that new client Kevin. I always use different last names just to keep you private. And then I'm going to do this as a refinance. So this is a refinance paying off debt. We're going to advance forward. Make sure that you choose something in here that meets the needs. Now remember, the only goal that does not trigger a current loan scenario is this purchase a new home. So I'm going to pay off debt. I can choose to place this number in here. Let's go ahead and say they're paying off $20,000. And now if I add $20,000 in here, it is automatically added to my loan amount that comes from my assumptions. So when it comes to the product and I click on refinance, it's going to be the total of the assumptions, that payoff amount plus the $20,000. Now I'll advance forward. Property purchase price. This is today's appraisal price. I'm going to say my home is going to appraise at $385,000. We'll advance forward. Now I'm going to put in as much information about the new, old house as possible. So I'm going to say, because he wants a scenario where it's not going to lower his actual payment, I'm going to say 2015. And when he originally bought the house, let's say it was $300,000. That should be pretty close to 20%. Interest rate, when they bought it, I'm going to say it was at 4.25, 360 months. You'll see this 300,000 is calculated for me. If it's correct, I can leave it alone. Now, if you're not sure that the client's going to take it and do it, click on the Add Auto Balance. What this does is, if I don't go into this one for, let's say, another 6 months, it's going to keep this balance going. So each month, it will take off that payment amount out of there. So the principal will be reduced each month. If I don't check this, it will remain the same. So we're going to check that little box. We're going to advance forward. Now here you want to include the actual amount. Don't use percentages here, because if you do and you copy it, it's going to use percentages on that new price. So next thing we're going to do is we are going to put the debt in here. So this is credit cards. And I'm going to put that monthly payment. I'm going to say currently they're making a monthly payment on that $20,000 of about $560. Now, here is another new tax feature. Is their property tax deductible? Are you showing the tax features? If you clicked yes, it will show the taxes on there. So it is up to you, clicking yes or not. We'll go ahead and click yes so you can see it come in. This information totally up to you, but because I did click earlier that tax bracket, I'm going to put 85 cents and I'm going to go, or 85%, and I'm going to go ahead and put them making $85,000 a year, just so we can see some information populate. This page I'm not going to worry about. Now we're going to build our first product. Let's say they're rolling it back into a 30-year fixed. First thing you always do is you copy it from the original loan, that current loan. The reason we copy from the original loan is we want to pull over their exact tax amount. I don't want to have to go back in and retype it. So I'm just going to copy from the current loan and click on OK. So it brings a lot of that information over. Now, is it a refinance? Yes. Is it for cash out reno? No, it's not. It's going to be for paying off the credit cards. So here's 286. In the assumptions, our payoff amount, oh, it didn't add it to it. Maybe it's the second window. I haven't done one for a little while. Let's go desired cash out. And we're going to go back over here. Again, copy first. So nope, we need to add our 20,000. It used to do it, but I guess the new version doesn't. So we'll erase that, put our 30,000 to add our 20,000 on there. So now we have everything updated in our file. We can change our interest rate. Let's say the interest rate is even going to be higher, 4.75, because this is realistic to today. We can go in. We're going to add our closing cost details. So if you have templates, templates are the fastest thing that can possibly speed you up. If you do not have your templates in there, please join me next month for the fee templates, product templates, and master template classes. So we're going to, I'm just going to throw in my fast track fees. Verify your fees. Always make sure and we know. I'm just going through. Okay, looks good. Apply that to the loan. Now the other factor you want to do is you applied those loans. You want to add those credit cards in so they can see where that's coming from. We're going to add a custom fee the first time you do it. Now you can choose, you can add each fee or each credit card separate if you are more detailed, or you can just add the word credit cards. I have them already in my system, but if you don't, you're going to add the fee. So I would put credit cards. Then I would click on this default prepaid. And let me explain a little bit about this. Default prepaid is for anything that is done while in escrow or before escrow. So we know they're not going to get cash back in their hands. It's handled during escrow. It's sent automatically to those creditors. We actually get that information that they have been paid off, sometimes even before closing. So make sure that you're checking this. What it does is it also takes out any of the information from your short-term savings area. So I'm going to click on cancel and I'm just going to add a fee because now I have it in there. I've added it once. So we're going to say Chase card. We're going to use a negative amount. And I'm going to say 10,000 on Chase and 10,000 on Discover. So let's add another one. I'm going to type in my D till I get to my Discover card. And I'm going to do another negative $10,000. So there's my $20,000. PPE should be checked on both of them. So default APR. Okay. Default APR on there. We don't default any of the APR fees. You need to know which fees are APR for you and which ones are not, and then you can come in and click. Now, if you make a custom fee and you create a custom fee and you add it default prepaid here, when you bring it up later by adding that fee, that box will automatically be checked. But because each state is different, not every state includes the same fees in their APR fees, then we cannot add in and make any of the fees default APR for you. So make sure that you do know great people to ask, your manager, your underwriters, but each state's different, so we can't do that for you. Now we're going to apply it to the loan. We're going to add our prepaid days of interest. I'm going to say 15. You'll see hazard insurance, property tax came automatically over. Credit cards are here. I'm going to remove those credit cards. And we're going to end up being lower here because I removed the credit cards. I'm going to do hazard insurance, collect my 12 months, and tax reserves. Now, here's the other option that you have. If you have one of those people who do not want to pay for any of the fees, after you've added everything to the loan, add your prepaid days of interest to the loan amount, go into your closing cost details, and there is a little button in your closing cost details, add all fees to loan. That's just going to increase our loan amount, just the amount of our current fees. Apply it to the loan. And then we can add a second, let's add a second product, but do a 15-year. Maybe they're closer to being paid off in 15 years. We're going to copy it from our 30-year fix. Now, if you notice, I use this copy button a lot. And the reason why is because it totally speeds me up. Everything's in this. I'm just going to adjust here. Let's say it's 4.5. And adjust here to the 180 months. Now we see we're paying it off 15 years, but the payment is higher. So those are the two scenarios I'm going to show my client. Analysis, set this up. Does anyone want me, raise your hand if you want me to go through the analysis summary screen and explain it. Because I know I have some newbies on here, so if you do want me to explain this window, okay. So here we have our property appreciation rate. There's two ways to come up with a property appreciation rate. You can use the standard appreciation rate by looking it up. What has your area been? And I typically like using an average, the last 2 years. Now, if it is really high, higher than the average, national average by a lot, for example, my area, it's been 11%. More likely, community's not going to retain that 11% increase every year. So I'm going to use the national average, which is 4%. The other way that you can do it is you can talk to your borrower and you can say, you know what, the national average or the average of our area has been about 6% increase for the property appreciation rate the last 3 years. Do you think it's going to stay that way or do you think it's going to decrease? What do you want to place in here? Because then the borrower has some placement in there. They know that you're not just pulling a number out of the air and placing it into here. So I'm going to leave it on 60. Short-term and long-term months. This is where you want to place in the information. As you're doing the initial interview, start asking some questions about when do you want to pay your house off? How long do you plan on living in this house? You know, if it's a brand new family, when do you plan on starting to have kids? If it's an older family, when do your kids go off to school? If they're an older couple with parents still alive, you know what's going to happen to your parents if they cannot no longer take care of themselves? And I know some of the conversations aren't happy conversations, but you need to explain to your borrower that you are a financial advisor about the home equity. And sometimes they'll need to leverage this home equity in order for them to get past hurdles within their life. So in order for you to really understand their needs, these are questions you need to ask. Once you ask those questions, you're going to know what to place in for these short-term and long-term months. For example, if a family has brand new family, they don't have kids yet, but they want to have kids, they're planning 3 years out, we're going to place 36 months for that kid. If they, maybe they plan on buying a house 4 years after that, they are only planning on staying in this home for 4 years. Now I've set it up for that family based on their own financial goals. So if there are no financial goals or you're not comfortable with asking those questions, 60 is good for short term. It is the Tilla Respa. And 10 is great for the long term. 10 is the new 7. Every 10 years, on average, Americans are touching their house. They're refinancing, they're pulling cash out, or they're purchasing a new house. So those are the good standard numbers. Now, the benchmark allows you to make adjustments. Let's say this person really has it set in their mind that they want this 30-year fixed, and you want to leverage that information on the 30-year fixed. You can come in and you can change that 30-year fixed. I'm going to go ahead and leave it on the current. Now, in this scenario, it is a little bit more difficult for some loan officers to explain the short-term interest savings. And this is where it might catch you up, Kevin, is that in this short-term savings area, we are only showing the initial interest on the home. More likely, this Discover card, this Chase card, they're paying anywhere from 19 to 23% interest. If you go online, you can find a calculator online by just going in and typing in credit card calculator. Type that in there. And once you do go in there, and I'm just going to use the top one, I don't care who it's from, you can place that balance. It's $10,000. The credit card interest rate, I'm going to say they're only paying 19%, and they're making a payment of $320 a month. Calculate it. Oh, this one isn't the one I want. Let's find a different one. But you get it. It will tell you how much interest they're paying off. There we go. I think this one's just the credit card interest. But go in, find one. I do have one, so if you want me to send you a good one, I have one saved that I use all the time. Give me your address in the little question area box. I'll send you over that credit card calculator I'll use. But I do know, like a $10,000, if they're only paying 18% interest, they are actually paying $14,000 in interest over the life of the loan. So when you go back to this analogy, that $14,000 is saved. So you really have to learn apples to apples. We have $20,000 in debt here at 23%. So you've got to get those numbers in there. And the only way you can talk to this is if you look up what is the interest going to be on that credit card, how much are they paying on that credit card. So make sure that you are running that credit card analogy. And we know credit cards can go up or down. If they miss a payment, they're going to add 5% interest on that credit card. There is no boundaries. So we'll really be able to leverage this. And then you'll be able to say, well, take that interest and you add up that first 5 years, because this is that short-term period, add up that first 5 years of interest that they're going to pay on that credit card, and then compare it to this amount right here, and you'll be able to show them side by side. If you continue to pay 18% interest on this credit card, you're paying $14,400. However, if you take and refinance it, you're now reducing your interest greatly on this amount, and you're going to end up saving yourself money, because it would end up being about $28,000 in that first 5 years with the 2 credit cards. So they'll save about $14,000 with this loan. Down here, you can choose interest in MI, total net worth, and total principal paid. Now, the one thing I do like to talk about down here is make sure that you are choosing something that's not scary to your borrowers. If you cannot explain it, do not share it. That's what I always say. So long-term total principal paid, how much is going towards the principal? Some people might not be able to explain this difference. Total net worth. And then total interest in MI. So for me, total net worth isn't too bad, because we know that we are saving them money in interest and we've rolled that extra debt in. So add $20,000 here, you're already to the same amount, plus add that interest savings that you save them in money that's going back into their pocket. That's the best way to tell the client. So, but again, if you can't explain it, don't show the borrower. On here, you'll add the same information as normal. We won't go through that. Remember, you can always uncheck a box to turn it off. Maybe we don't want to show that 30-year fixed. I simply uncheck it. If you do have payment notes that you need to clean up those payment notes. And then we're going to go right into our preview screen. Add your quote date. And then we'll click on preview. So anyone want me to go in detail on the preview screen? What is your client seeing? If you do, raise your hand and I will go a little bit more in detail. But if everyone's comfortable with this screen, then I won't go as much in detail. Okay, so let's go a little bit in detail on here. The summary is everything about the loan that you normally have been quoting to your clients. Interest rates, payment, closing cost. And this is actually that money that's coming from the payment towards that loan or towards the credit cards. Now we have also down here our first lien and 5-year cost. This was the number, if you were in the business a year and a half ago, this was that number that scared all of us in the business. How are we going to explain this to our clients? It is the TILA RESPA requirements. If you're unsure about that, talk to your manager. Payment stream or freedom point. This is the term. How long? So we went from 27 years to 15 years, and they're only coming in with $212 more per month. So super easy to explain. We're also including that $500 a month in this. So that is already taken into advantage. So they're going to pay an extra $212. But in the long run, they're going to save themselves about $19,000 in the first 5 years. I'm going to go ahead and clear these out. Here is your clear all button. Now when I'm highlighting, I'm simply placing my mouse over it. We have our payment breakdown section. This is going through the actual payment and breaks it down. What is the money that you're paying out each month? Where does it go? Closing cost is exactly what it says. It is your closing cost fees. If you go into fee detail, you can see exactly where that money is. If you're showing points, if you put a negative point in there, it will show lender credit. So if you are showing lender credit, just use a negative amount in that points area, and that's a great place to show lender credit. Okay, the $19,000, Patrick. This is the $19,000 when I said, where is the $19,000? I know approximately, because I've ran this analogy enough, that it's about for $10,000 at 18% interest, they are saving approximately $14,400 in the first 5 years. And that's only on 10,000. So on 2 of them, it would be about $29,000. I'm taking this, and actually it's more than what I said. I'm taking this amount here away from it, and that is their savings. So that's how I know where the savings is. It's all based on me doing that calculation on their card for that first 5 years. Payment differences is just showing the payments. Savings over 60 months. What this window is showing is unrecoverable cost. So we are adding interest and MI to the closing cost. So that is giving us our total cost right here. So again, it's simply unrecoverable cost that you're showing. This is very similar, this number here. If you have a renter, this is similar to rent. Rent, there is a slight tax write-off. Whatever the standard deduction is, it's percentage of that standard deduction based on their tax percent. So let's say standard deduction $12,200, 25% of that is their tax write-off. That is the deduction that they would have from here if it was rent. But you would also have that tax deduction here for the other ones. So if you are to take rent, multiply it times 12, multiply it times 5, compare it to this number, it's very similar. And then that bottom, this window just shows what is the balance is going to be in your 10-year time frame. So in 10 years, how much is my house going to be worth? And this is based on that appreciation rate that is shown right here in the payment difference. So let's go back down here. So 10 years, we have our loan balance in 10 years. How much did we pay towards the house? Savings rate, if you did have a savings account and you were the percentage of savings. And then total net worth. What is my house going to be worth? How much equity do I have built into it? That is what is right here. Couple other things on the presentation is you do have a Start Now button. If you have placed your address for your application, if you have an online application, go to your online application. And I'm just going to pull up a random online application for something. You'll go to your online application. You'll then highlight this, copy it, go over into your Mortgage Coach settings area. And where it says Start Now address, you want to place that right there. And what will happen is when your clients are in here, if your clients go up and they click on this Start Now button, it'll take them right to that spot. So then they can start the application if it's a pre-approval. We have our share button. This is where you'll be able to find that link. Remember, this link is a hot link. Any changes I go back and make to this presentation, it's automatically updated for me. So it goes along. And not only that, if I'm working with a client and this client says, you know what, I like that I'm still saving money on this 30-year. What if I add another $10,000 to it? And I'm going to split the screens and show you. Let's go ahead and split those screens. So then I can go back into that same presentation. So I'll click on Home, double click on Kevin's name, and I'm going to go into my 30-year fixed. And I'm going to add $10,000 more to this base loan amount. And then I'll tab forward. So when I tab forward, you'll find it's already recalculated it, and now I am got down to $450. It automatically updates even if the client's in it and you're making changes in here, the client will see it on their screen. I actually have one loan officer who creates a link. So they'll do new client. And let's just put in Tommy Lee. I'm going to advance forward. And I'm just going to put in just a couple of things. Purchase a new home and the assumption, property value. I'm going to say he's buying a house for $350. Then what he does is he comes back to the presentation link, clicks on the preview, generates a link, highlights this link, and he sends it to the client. Client opens that link up. So we can see the only thing in this link is that purchase price. There is no products in it, just that purchase price. Then he goes on and builds the presentation. So based on what you're talking about, I think that a basic conventional loan is going to be great for you. So I'm going to show you two scenarios with points and without. So he'll put in conventional 30-year. He has all of his templates set up, so he just goes in and he drops in a template, and I don't know which ones I have in here. Let's do 30-year conventional, 20% down, adds his interest rate, advances forward. You can see I have my APR, non-APR, I add my days of interest. Now on the client is watching it and he's seeing it actually be built in front of him. I have in all my hazard insurance. I even have my reserves in here. Adding that second product. This is the conventional 30 with points. Copying it from that initial presentation. Decreasing my interest rate. Adding my points. So now my client can go in and he can see it. Now I'm ready to go over to the presentation. Click on my preview, go into my preview screen after I add my quote date, because you always want to protect yourself. Click on preview. And now my client has already seen it being built right in front of him. Now we can talk about it. As I said, you are dropping your interest rate about 0.25 by making this choice. This is going to lower that monthly payment. So now you are going to be able to afford this house. You do need to come in with about almost $3,000 more for closing, but you're still going to save that $41 a month, which is going to keep your DTI intact. So that is one of the little tools that one of the loan officers I've been working with. So to highlight Elliott, all you do is place your mouse on top of the cell you want to highlight and click that left mouse button. Now what you see on the right side of the screen is called Mortgage Coach Live. And this is the way that you really drive the client to help them understand. So you can go into the closing cost. Of course, what am I going to talk about in the closing cost? You're not paying points here. You're bringing in that extra $2,800 when you do the second option. But let's look at 5 years. How is it going to impact you? It's actually going to save you $696 in that first 5 years. 87%. Let me see what you're looking at. Okay, this is the TILA RESPA. TILA RESPA requirements, first year interest percentage. If you do not know what that is, ask your manager. This is really important because it is a federal requirement. So, and you can just go to them, ask what is the TILA RESPA requirements that came into play about 1.5 years ago that shows a really high percentage, because that was the one thing, I was a loan officer then, that freaked us all out. Any questions on this or how to do this? This is a really cool, I haven't used it, but really cool idea, especially if you do a lot of phone conversations with the clients. I think it would definitely pull that client in, be a total wow factor for the client. Nope, great question, Kevin. Anything else that I can show you guys or that you guys want to see that you haven't seen before? Raise your hand if you were on last week's call. Absolutely. So if you do want I normally don't send these recordings out, but if you do want a copy of the recording, Sergio just requested it, let me know in the little question area that you want a copy of this recording, and I would be more than happy to send it out at the end of the class when I have free time. So it looks like no one was in last week's class. So let me go through a technique that I use when I'm building, especially if I'm doing a pre-approval right in front of the client. And it is called a master template. Master templates have all of your information in it for the products. For example, I'm doing an FHA versus conventional. I'm going to show I'm doing a purchase. You can see the little asterisks here. Those asterisks at the bottom just means I did not fill in a red field. So if I go to that assumptions, I did not fill in the property value here. I left it blank. Products, I placed already. My FHA is in there. I have my upfront premium selected, 3.5%, and my term. I also have already placed in my closing costs into this template. So my APR, my non-APR, I put my standard 15 days in there. And then I have the 1.5. You can add it to the upfront MI to the loan if you want. I placed in my percentages here. If you do not use percentages, place in a dollar amount on your average purchase price. What is your most frequent purchase price? That's what you're going to place in here. I already have my mortgage insurance on there. And let's even go in, we'll add in our reserves as well. We'll go through our second product. Second product is a conventional 30, no upfront, 5% down, 360. Closing cost, 15 days, all of it's added in here. and then hazard insurance, property tax, and my mortgage insurance for my conventional. The analysis screen, I have set it up for my client based on the average client. On the bottom, this scenario, I'm going to show interest in MI because I am showing the clients showing FHA versus conventional. Hey, Will, I showed a really cool little trick, Will. I will send you a copy of the presentation since you weren't here. And then the only thing I'm adding here is the new home, your new home. This is a marketing piece. I cannot stress this enough that you use this for marketing. You want your clients to have a couple of feelings. First of all, education. Number one complaint when most, especially millennials, walk away from the transaction, they purchase their house. Number one complaint is, I don't feel like I was educated. I don't feel like I really understand this huge commitment I just got into. We want to eliminate that, because if we eliminate that problem, we're going to make sure and go back in and get referrals from them if we really are able to eliminate that problem that they're having. Yep. Bye, Will. Have a good day. And I'm just going through the master template. I know you've seen it before. So in order to get your clients to fill that, we're really educating the client. The second thing is, and Will just said this is a great retention tool. The second thing is that you want your client to feel the warm, fuzzy feelings of great possibilities of owning their own home. We know the number one thing that is supposed to be the big American dream is to own a home. So you want them to be able to, sure, Susan, I'll send you last week's presentation too. You want them to be able to get that feeling of possibilities. This is a great possibility for me. This is going to happen. One of the little secrets, and it's only a mental little secret that you do, is place your new home in here, because now when a client looks at the actual presentation, they're reading the words your new home. It becomes more of a possibility for them. The more specific you can get in this little property address, the better. If they have an exact city that they're moving to, you put that exact city in there. And I'm leaving it blank for now because this is my template, but I did put your new home in the template. And then that is all I'm going to fill out. Now when I go to my home page, I have a client sitting in front of me. We've had a small conversation. I pulled out his debt. I know how much he makes per month. And I know that he is kind of struggling. They don't have a lot of down savings already built up for that down payment. So what's going to be the best option? FHA versus conventional. I'm going to go into my view all and click on search. Now you'll see I put a special character in front of it. And this is a special character to allow it to come to the top of my list. So I'm going to click on the little caret by FHA versus conventional, click on the date, click on copy analysis, and click on new client. Now when I open it up, everything is there for that new client. All I need to put it in is my first name, so Mr. Will. And we're going to make him Will Smith. I'm going to put in there that it's a purchase. Then as I talk to the client, I'm going to go to the assumptions area and I'm going to go property value. Okay, so as we said, you can afford about $290,000. Now, good luck finding it in Southern California, but $290, I'm going to go right to my products and go to my first one, my FHA. You'll see that $290 pulled over for me. All I need to add here is my interest rate, and voila, I have a full product already built. I'm going to move to the second one, and I can place my mouse right on the product, go right into conventional, and again, add just this, 4.675. Now I can go all the way to the presentation, click on preview, add my quote date here, and why my client is in the office with me, why they're right there sitting beside me. I'm going to have an iPad, or I'm going to have a second screen where I can turn it around and show it to them. I'm going to click on the generate the link, copy this link for my client, and I'm going to, and we're just going to make our window small again. And this is my iPad. I am going to either email it to myself on my iPad and open it up, or if I have two screens, I'm going to open up the second screen, place it in there, click the little button, enter, and then I'm going to turn that screen around so it faces the client. So now I have, this is my one screen, this is my second screen, or this is my computer, and this is my iPad. They will have to click on, or I'll click on that before they go into it. And then I'm going to close this and click on preview. When I click on preview, me and the client are now in the same presentation. So now I have that opportunity, and literally, what's it going to take me? It's going to take me maybe 2 to 3 minutes, because I'm talking to the client as I put in those few items. And the client's not going to feel like it's a long time, because I am continuing to have conversations about them. I'm getting to know them as a human being as I talk to them. You know what? Why I quickly just throw a couple of things in here? Let me go ahead and ask you, do you have children? How old are your kids? I'm mentally going to absorb all of this information, because later on, I'm going to use it as I build out the relationship with the client. So this is saved as, what it is saved as, Patrick, is it is saved as a presentation. So when I go into my home screen, you can see it is one of my clients. I have a whole list of possibilities for doing this. So I'm just going to make my screen big again. So 15 versus 30 year, points versus no points, FHA versus conventional. Whatever are the normal ones that you do while you are sitting right in front of your client, those are the ones you want to have. MI options, if you're always doing one showing lender paid versus borrower paid versus split MI, doing MI options. 30 versus 15 I have in there. Annual mortgage review with no benefit. If you are working those annual mortgage reviews, do a template for the annual mortgage reviews. If you do construction loans, construction versus a 203K, am I going to build or am I going to fix one up? Cost of waiting, like you can do them for anything. But remember, always put the little asterisk or some special character in front of it. So when you're talking to the client, you can bring this up. So when you figure it out, this is the presentation I'm going to show them, you can click into it and be able to show them. So I'm just reading some of the little notes. Yes, exactly, Will. It is a complete professional presentation, and it is 100% polished right while your clients are sitting in front of you. So, and yes, I have so many people that have asked me to send my templates. Unfortunately, a master template is something you have to build yourself. And I'd probably get in trouble. Hey, you can hire me $65 an hour. That's what I make when I do my private trainings for yoga. And I got all those templates because I went in and I built them, Mark. So when you guys initially opened up your accounts, you had certain people in there. You have Jenny in there. So if I type in Jenny, Jenny will come up. I believe it's this one. Jenny Renter, you should have had a conventional versus FHA. Let's see, FHA versus conventional. So go into that original one that you have, open it up, and just double click to open it. Then what you want to do is you want to make this your own template. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the assumptions. I'm going to delete this amount. I'm going to go into my products, and this has our fees and stuff. So there's certain things I'm going to do. I want to delete here. I'm going to leave my 3.5%. I'm going to delete my interest rate. This is an FHA. It's not showing that FHA up front. I'm going to add that. And I'm just going to make this so it works for me as a template. I'm going to go in my own personal closing cost. And then when we go into the closing cost, you can go in and add your personal fees into the same one that's already built for you. So you don't have to go through and build a whole new presentation. You can go into a presentation that we have built for you and just take out the information that doesn't work for you or that you don't need for every single client and leave in the information that's valid. So you don't have to go through and rebuild all of them. And absolutely, as you build these presentations, you're going to learn and become more and more brilliant when it comes to using Mortgage Coach. And that's true. As cheap as that is, I would have your whole thing built in an hour easily. And it's 65, Will. So anything else that I can show you or any questions on this technique? It is a brilliant technique. It's one that I just started when last few months, I've heard a lot of problems with people having implementation problems and just being able to structure their Mortgage Coach account so it's working for them. So this is one of the techniques, and that's why I'm doing the classes next month on the fee templates, the product templates, and the master templates. So preset presentation templates. Not sure what you're talking about, Sergio. Oh, I know what you're talking about. So in the home, when you initially got your Mortgage Coach account, in the very beginning, you have some templates in here, and I don't know if I can point them all out, but there's some templates that when you initially got your Mortgage Coach account, and for most of you, they would be, I know the FHA versus conventional is in there. There's one called Jenny Renter that is in there. I can actually probably get you a list of what they are. The newer your account is, go in and just find the ones that are not your loans. If it's one that was previously in there, then you know, and I'm trying to, purchase power presentation is one. So you should have your purchase power presentation in there. So I believe you come standard with 7 pre-built presentations for you. So I'll verify it, Sergio, and I'll send you a list of what those names of those presentations are, because I'm sure I can pull up someone who's brand new and find what they are. You're welcome. Any other questions that anyone has? It is top of the hour. So I do want to make sure that we are aware of everyone's time. And let's just throw out, perfect, schedule of the next ones. While I'm looking for that, I'm going to go ahead and launch the poll. And I will look for the dates on the next presentation. So I know I have it in my personal calendar. So one more second, I'm almost there. I'm actually looking to see if they put it in the calendar already for me. If not, I can send out the links for you guys. Doesn't look like it's in the calendar yet. I will send out the links if you want a copy of the link to making up those fee templates, product templates, and master templates. I will send it out to you guys so you guys will be able to sign up for those classes. Again, there's some of the ones that if you set up your Mortgage Coach account in the very beginning, then you're going to be able to really be able to kick out those Mortgage Coach presentations easily in 5 minutes or less, and that is my goal. You need to be able to just kick out those presentations in 5 minutes or less. So just drop into the little question box, send me links, and then I'll know that you guys want the link for the class on the fee template, product template, and master templates. And then if I get no other questions in the next couple of seconds, I'm going to give you guys time to place those send me links in there. Then I will let you guys go. I do hope that you guys have an absolutely amazing weekend. Here in sunny Southern California, we are going to be in the mid to high 80s, so I cannot wait to get some beach weather out there. Fabulous. Looks like we are all good. Thank you for your time, and I do appreciate it. Have a great weekend.